In this podcast episode, the Critical Drinker delves into the current state of the film industry, exploring the myriad reasons behind the perceived decline in quality of modern movies. The conversation touches on various topics, including the corporatization of beloved franchises, the impact of streaming services, and the evolving dynamics of celebrity culture. The discussion begins with an update on the James Bond franchise, which has recently undergone significant changes. The Broccoli family, who have managed the franchise since the 1960s, have seen their control diminished following Amazon's acquisition of MGM, the rights holder for Bond. The Critical Drinker expresses concern that Amazon's plans to create a Bond cinematic universe could lead to the exploitation of the franchise, with spin-offs and prequels diluting the character's mystique. He argues that the enduring appeal of Bond lies in the character's complexity and the careful balance maintained by the Broccoli family, which may be jeopardized by corporate interests. The conversation shifts to the broader implications of corporate influence in Hollywood. The Critical Drinker notes that the film industry is increasingly driven by profit motives, leading to a focus on franchises and IP exploitation rather than original storytelling. He draws parallels to other franchises, such as Star Wars, which have suffered from similar corporate meddling. The host and Critical Drinker lament the loss of creativity and the rise of formulaic storytelling, where studios prioritize financial returns over artistic integrity. As the podcast progresses, the discussion turns to the rise of streaming services and their effect on the film industry. The Critical Drinker highlights how platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime have changed the landscape, making it easier for audiences to access content, but also leading to a saturation of mediocre offerings. He points out that while streaming services have democratized content creation, they have also contributed to a decline in quality, as studios rush to produce content to fill their libraries. The host and Critical Drinker also discuss the challenges faced by traditional cinema in this new environment. With audiences increasingly opting for the convenience of home viewing, the allure of the theater experience has diminished. The Critical Drinker suggests that the future of cinema may involve a return to more niche offerings, akin to theater productions, where only dedicated fans attend. The podcast also addresses the decline of comedy in modern filmmaking. The Critical Drinker argues that political correctness has stifled humor, making it difficult for filmmakers to create genuinely funny content. He cites the lack of successful comedies in recent years, noting that the last truly great comedy was likely Tropic Thunder, which would be considered too controversial to produce today. The host and Critical Drinker express hope that audiences are ready for a return to edgier, more irreverent humor, as the backlash against overly sanitized content grows. The conversation then shifts to the future of the Star Wars franchise. The Critical Drinker believes that Star Wars can be profitable again, but it needs to take a break for several years to allow audiences to miss it. He emphasizes the importance of firing those responsible for the recent failures at Lucasfilm and suggests that a fresh approach is necessary to restore the franchise's former glory. However, he doubts that Star Wars will regain its status as a cultural juggernaut, given the damage done to its brand. The podcast also touches on the challenges of adapting beloved source material, particularly in the context of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire. The Critical Drinker discusses how Martin's nihilistic worldview has affected his storytelling, leading to a lack of resolution and direction in his work. He contrasts this with the success of other authors, like Brandon Sanderson, who have managed to produce engaging content consistently. The Critical Drinker suggests that Martin's reluctance to finish his series stems from a fear of disappointing fans, which ultimately hinders his creative process. As the discussion progresses, the podcast delves into the changing dynamics of celebrity culture. The Critical Drinker notes that the mystique surrounding celebrities has diminished due to their constant presence on social media. He argues that this accessibility has made it difficult for stars to maintain their allure, as audiences become desensitized to their personal lives. The host and Critical Drinker highlight the importance of maintaining a certain distance between celebrities and their fans, as this distance contributes to the fascination with their lives. In the final segments of the podcast, the Critical Drinker shares his thoughts on the future of film and television. He expresses optimism that the industry can recover from its current state, provided that creators prioritize quality storytelling over profit-driven motives. He believes that audiences are ready for a return to more traditional narratives, where clear distinctions between good and evil exist and characters undergo meaningful arcs. The podcast concludes with a discussion about the potential for new projects and the importance of supporting independent filmmakers. The Critical Drinker emphasizes the need for fresh voices in the industry and encourages listeners to seek out and support original content.